Hello everyone, I'm going to share a new concept of full mouth reconstruction with premium metallic guide that we recently launched in association with Dr. Corey Glenn. We generally experience in full mouth cases with resin guide that sometimes your resin guide is not sticking properly in patient mouth, or you are facing some struggle in following the entire workflow to deliver the immediate prosthesis or immediate loading at the day of the surgery. We have another solutions that we call metallic guide solutions for sequential guide concept. We recently developed a new workflow. There I am going to show you what are the units, what are the components we have to follow up to immediate loading. Right, so we have fabricated some models, we have milled the temporary prosthesis, your bone reduction guide that we call alveoloplasty guide or to reshaping the guide. Right, we have a reduction guide in metal milled, in cobalt chrome finished. The entire workflow I'm going to explain you how to use the entire components, what are the sequences are there, how to use the drilling sequences, and how to deliver the temporary in the patient mouth. So just stay with me, I'm going to explain entire workflow. So there you go. First thing is the software. So if you understand the software, as you know, we need to do the precise treatment planning, implant placement in the software, right? So you need to have right understanding of what kind of data you need. If I say data, if you go through my previous video, already we have mentioned so many things about scanning protocol, that you need the patient CVCT and intraoral scan and bite relation of the patient. In terms of software, we exclusively use Blue Sky Plan software for any kind of treatment planning or any kind of guide design, be it single implant case, zygoma implant case, or this kind of full mouth reconstruction case. Okay, so the best features for this kind of full mouth reconstruction cases is the sequential concept, where you will experience with immediate extraction, leveling of the bone, reshaping of the bone, then your osteotomy performance. You will follow with the pilot drilling to the final drilling, with the sequential drilling, with the osteotomy. Then you raise the cylinder, temporary cylinder, with the reinforcement bar, and then you deliver you restore the temporary outside the patient mouth. You do not need to experiment the temporary in the patient mouth to raise the temporary cylinder. There it is. If you see, there are a few more guides you can see in my table. There are some metal guides are there. It's a cobalt finish and 5-axis milling with the milled temporary. Okay, if you see, there is no pickup hole in the temporary because we are using with the reinforcement bar concept. Okay, so temporary pickup will be through the reinforcement bar. Okay, so first is the pin guide, indexing guide. So to establishing fixation pin, you experience with the first guide, you just need to raise buccal flap. We avoid palatal flap. Okay, so first buccal flap you will need to raise and stabilize the guide with the path of insertion from the facial aspect. We are stabilizing the guide from the frontal aspect. If you see, I am not stabilizing the guide from the top due to the undercut. Sometimes we face some problem to stabilize the guide. That is why we has raised the buccal flap first, and then we establish the guide with the path of insertion from the facial aspect. Once you get the osteotomy, once you are done with the drilling in the fixation pin, right? So you will see some fixation pin holes will be there in the patient bone. We use pilot drilling, if you know. Once you are done with the first guide, then the bone will give you some indexing point. Using this indexing point, we are going to establish all the sequential guide with the same indexing point. So first job is raise the flap, buccal flap, no palatal flap. Then go with the immediate extraction, extract all the teeth, and there you can see we have a reduction guide, one guide. This is called foundation guide, okay, base guide. So in the foundation guide, special feature, special workflow of our guide is that it has pre-built fixation pin in the guide, okay. So you can see this indexing point, my first fixation pin, my first foundation guide will be stabilizing through the inbuilt fixation pin. That means you can avoid multiple fixation pin in the patient mouth. We are going to use 2 fixation pin only, and the inbuilt 3 fixation pin will be there, retention pin will be there in the guide, okay. Now some holes you can see there, one is magnet components, one is the staking components, okay. So once you stabilize the reduction guide, you just level the bone. You just level the bone. Once bone is flattened, one more thing. If you want to see the treatment plan, we have used the Blue Sky Plan software. I'll give you take you through one more workflow, right? How this treatment plan has been done to consider the bone leveling. But first thing is to understanding, right? Understanding how to use the entire sequential workflow. Sometimes it happens, if we are not carrying the right psychology, how to use the sequential concept, there you are going to experiment in the patient mouth, right? So this is the foundation guide you have. Once you are done with the bone leveling of the bone, there we have the implant placement guide. These are the fixation pin. Using this fixation pin, what I'll do, I'll just establish the first guide. Now see how the strength of the guide, no chances of breakage of the guide, right? In between of the reduction process, sometimes if we are using resin, we damage the guide in the process. So that is why we call the metal guide stands out in the resin workflow. So once we are done with the bone shaping, right, establishing the fixation pin, your foundation guide is completely stabilizing precisely in the bone. Now you see no metal sleeves also we are using. If you see this resin guide, we are additionally using the metal rings, right? Now for the reduction guide, you can say we can reduce the cost, we can say we can avoid the metal rings uses, right? Simply another metal guides will be there. It's called osteotomy guide, it is called implant placement guide. Simply stack this guide on the, let me show you more clearly. Okay, this is the osteotomy guide. I'm simply with these stacking points and the magnets, the guide is established with this hole, right? Now just assume this guide is the resin guide and you have a complex bone. We cannot play more with the design when it comes to the resin, right? Chances of damages of the guide will be there. But when it comes to the metal guide, right, flexibility is there, strength is there, rigidity is there, right? So you can, and the stacking, if you see, no buckle flap, no palatal flap, only buckle engagement will be there, right? Once stabilization is done, follow with the whatever the drilling sequences are there. If you are using Biohorizon, Blue Sky biofully guided kit or Neoden guided kit, go with the company, check their documents. You will find the entire workflow, entire drilling sequence information, right? So first start with the pilot drilling and end with the final drilling, right? Once you are done with the osteotomy drilling sequence, I'll just remove this guide. I'll just remove, see, easily you can remove, and then another guide will be there. It is called no reinforcement bar, you can say reinforcement bar to raise the temporary cylinder, to pick up the cylinders. Generally what we do, we raise the temporary cylinder, we pick up the temporary cylinder with the prosthesis, right? Here we are not going to use the prosthesis in the patient mouth to pick up the temporary cylinder. This is the reinforcement bar will be there. You can see some facial injection molding holes we have given, right? So you can easily put the impression there. And once the temporary cylinder has picked up, remove this bar, and there you have in the intaglio we have some space to infuse this bar outside the patient mouth. Best thing is that outside the patient mouth, you do not need to do everything in the patient mouth. Once cylinder is picked up, you just use this bar inside the in the intaglio of the prosthesis. Then you just remove these connections, remove this bar, right, and fix this. Use some resin material to fuse the reinforcement bar, remove the connections, and it is ready to deliver in the patient mouth. So what you understood is completely clear concept. If you are using resin and if you face some struggle in situation of immediate extraction case, you can check out our workflow, premium metallic guide workflow. In the descriptions we are giving the documents. These documents again is not only about the full mouth reconstructions of metallic guide. It's the document from single mouth up to the final osteotomy. Whatever the guiding concept is there, we have clearly illustrated entire workflow in the document, right? So just download the documents. If you're not getting the link, just go to the website. There you contact through our live chat. Contact number is there, listed there. Call the team. They will ask for the documents for the entire guided surgery workflow.